Hello everybody, today I will be installing this Momo Ultra steering wheel into the Ecotec Miata. In addition to the steering wheel, I will also be installing this NRG Innovations quick release hub, and it's got like some cool carbon fiber bits. It's pretty cool, so let's get started. Now you're probably asking, why a quick release steering wheel? Well, in addition to just being all around cool and giving you more freedom to customize your car, I'm a relatively tall guy. I'm about 6 foot, and whenever I go to get into the Miata, I hit my leg on the steering wheel. There's no really good way to get into the car when you're above like 5'8". That seems to be about the perfect number. I know people much taller than me drive these cars and have no problems, but it's still a cool customization that you can do to your car. First things first, you're going to want to disconnect your battery because we are going to be removing the airbag for this. So yeah, battery's in the trunk on the Miata. Ignore my nitrous tank. Alright, just tuck that out of the way. Now we can get to the install. Alright, so it's a good idea to make sure your steering wheel's straight. We'll be able to adjust it here in a minute, but first thing, there are 4 10mm nuts. One here, and then on the opposite side they're in the same place. So we're going to start off by undoing those. There's one. There's two. There's three. And there's four. Alright, so now it's a good idea to make sure that your wheels are straight, which mine are, and you can just pull the airbag out. So it comes out like that, and then this pops right out. And this wire right here is responsible for your horn, and this wire right here is responsible for your airbag. So these are very simple. This you just press down and then you pull on it. Pops right out. And this one, it's got a little bit of a weird one. You just push this to the side and then it pops right out. Then you have your Miata airbag. Now in the center of the wheel, there's a 21mm nut. You could use a breaker bar to get it off. I'm just gonna use an impact gun. Yeah, I know it's not an impact bit, but comes right off. And then after this is off, you want to thread it on just a hair, just like that, and then you're going to want to beat on the steering wheel to kind of break it free. Like that. Take the nut off, and the steering wheel just pops right off. So thread that through there, and your steering wheel is now off. So this is what you're left with, and this right here is called the clock spring. As you can see, it freely rotates. This is in charge of making sure that your airbag and horn is able to rotate freely without wires getting pinched. I am not going to be using the horn or the airbag with this because I deleted both systems when I did the engine swap. This is a track car that I drive on the road sometimes, so I'm not worried about having a horn or airbag. But if you plan on keeping the clock spring, in order to not damage it, don't turn it more than 2.5 turns or you're going to damage it. See, the top just pops off. So this shroud here is only held on with 3 screws. Something to note now that this top part's off, make sure these 2 arrows right here line up so that you don't damage your clock spring. There is 3. There we go. See, that just falls right off. The previous owner of this car left us some interesting speaker wire here, so that is interesting. And then the clock spring, it just has 3 screws that hold it in. Clock spring just comes on off. Oh, so that's interesting. The previous owner of this car must have done this before, because this is wired with speaker wire. And that would explain why my horn did not work. So that's really cool. I really like that. Normally in your car you would have a factory wiring harness, not some speaker wire. So these are the 3 wires. This is why you don't want to have your car battery in. Put the clock spring back there. So these wires you don't want touching anything. I'm actually going to err on the side of caution and use heat shrink on these. That's entirely not necessary, but I'm going to do it just because I like to be unnecessary. Your middle wire here, the green with the red stripe, that's your horn wire. So I have the heat shrink on. Look at this lighter. Isn't this lighter cute? We'll just hit that like that. Being sure not to catch anything on fire. Over the middle wire. Heat shrink it. Be careful not to catch anything on fire, which we are. That electrical tape's just kind of in there. That's okay, that's okay. Little fire never hurt anybody. Over the third wire. Heat shrink that one. Alright, so those wires are now safely heat shrinked off. Heat shrinks on there nice and tight. Now we can actually start installing our parts for the quick release. I'm going to be using all NRG parts. This is the NRG Miata hub adapter. It just goes on, so it adapts it into a universal quick release hub configuration. This is what this looks like. Normally you would have your wire from the horn coming up, and then you'd have something like a paper clip making constant contact around it, but I am not going to do that because this car does not have a horn. So make sure the NRG logo on the top is facing up, and just slide it onto the hub. Now you can go ahead and reinstall your the little lock nut that we took off earlier. You can see too on the NRG hub, there's a little white dot there. Make sure that's facing up. So we'll just thread this on like so. Take our impact, set it to tighten, and then that's on there nice and tight now. Alright, now you can see on the hub adapter there's a little dot there too. I might as well just wire this, just plug these into each other. They're not going to do anything, but just do it as you would if you were keeping your horn. Just kind of tuck those around in there. So we'll just get it lined up. This one's, the dot's facing up, and then we could just start threading these in. Alright, those are all tightened. Make sure they're all in there nice and tight. Alright, cool, that looks really good. Tell you what, I'm actually going to, before I continue with the installation, I'm going to put the shroud back on it to make sure everything looks okay. Just like that. Alright, that looks pretty good. Now we can get to actually putting on the steering wheel. Alright, so now we take our nice little hub here, and then it should just, there we go, just clicks right on. And now we can observe the orientation of this, and then install our steering wheel on top of it. Do note that, you know, if you were doing your horn, you would have to wire the horn at this point, which just involves connecting that to that. So I'm going to start off by just hand threading in the included hardware. They're just little Allen bolts again, and it comes with an Allen key, which is nice. Something that I'm already noticing about this is how much deeper the dish is on it compared to the original steering wheel. Well, the original steering wheel didn't have any dish to it, but this one, it's really aggressive, and I love it. Has the cool Momo insignia on it all over, and it's got like race tracks on the, doesn't feel like Alcantara, it's just like cloth. but it's still nice nevertheless. Now you can go ahead and tighten everything down, making sure everything's nice and aligned right. Alright, cool. The steering wheel is on. Feels really good. It's moving the wheels. And then, you know, when you're done, you just pop it off and it pops right off. And then when you come back, wow, that's really cool. I like that. Horn doesn't work, but the horn button looks cool nevertheless. So yeah, that is the NRG quick release hub with the Momo Ultra steering wheel. This steering wheel is sweet. It's kind of expensive, but it looks amazing. Really adds a cool race car look to the car. So I hope you all enjoyed. More content coming out with the Ecotec Miata soon. Trying to get some stuff done before winter comes and I have to put the car away. But yeah, this is a fairly easy install, and I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time.